Welcome back to the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Amarello, and we've been traveling through the 52 wealth principles to becoming a millionaire. This week is wealth principle number 12. Alleviate a frustration experienced by a large group of people who are willing to pay enough to make it worth your effort. I know it's long, but what it is very, very distinct. It's three separate sections, three separate elements that many entrepreneurs forget. Before I dive into the training, before I dive into the process, hands to the camera if you've never seen me speak before. Hands to the camera if you've never seen me speak before. Excellent. Let's give Betty a round of applause. Jackson, please. I've known you for a long time. So a little bit about myself. I started off as a normal person, ran into some real shit in life. I got divorced. I lost my job. I ended up in debt, negative $25,000. And I got to the point where I was suicidal and just ready to take my life away, just sitting on a bucket in one of my apartments that I was renovating. And there was something that pulled into me that said, you've got to stay. You've got to do something. And I was thinking of my brother. And then I was thinking of, there's got to be other people who are experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing. They're tired financially, they're tired emotionally, they're tired in their relationships, tired in just taking care of themselves and having to wake up and go and do things every day. And so I made a commitment. I said, well, if being here for my own selfish reasons is not enough, what is the thing that would keep me here? And I decided if I could figure out how money worked, if I could figure out how life worked, I would one day teach it. And that would be enough of a reason for me to stay. And as I got stronger in that conviction, as I got built stronger momentum, it made me want to make money. It made me want to earn. It made me want to learn more about how this world works. And so as I moved through this journey of, being worth less than I was born with, negative $25,000, worth less than I was born with, in debt, $500,000, I realized that money wasn't everything, but money could solve a few of the key problems I was having, which was shelter, food, and being able to do things, being able to have something to do. Hands to the camera if you know it costs money to be on this planet. They say the best things in life are free. My business partner likes to remind me often that the second best things in life are very expensive. That's a quote from Coco Chanel. He mentioned it last night. As I started building wealth, and by the way, I didn't do it quickly. I was 28 when I got divorced. I was retired by 30. I was a millionaire by 32, and then I was a multimillionaire by 34. And how I did it was I bought one house and then another, and then another, and then another. And I kept buying real estate. And I got all the way up to 42 units. And I sold all the way down to 12 or 14. And then I got back up to 68. So I've done it a time or two. I know what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Today, we have a company that's valued at $10 million. My goal by the end of Q1 next year is to have it have a valuation of $20 million. The only way to do that is to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep improving, to keep moving myself forward. So the 52 weeks of wealth are more than just for me. They're for you too. They're for you too. The 52 weeks to wealth, the 52 wealth principles, I review them each week. As I teach them, I'm also taking them in. Who here has heard before that in order to learn something truly, you must teach it? Who's heard that before? Yes. That is the truth. In order to learn something at a high level, you must teach it first. The only way to truly absorb something is to go and be looking at it from multiple different angles. How does this person understand it? How can I get that person to understand it? And what I've done through this process is not just develop myself, but develop you as well. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires. 100 millionaires in 2021. Hands to the camera if you know you want to join that mission. You'd like to be a product. Who's ever said that before? I just want to be that. Like, just if you could mold me into a millionaire, I would sign up. Like, I'll show up today. That's what this is all about. That's what the 52 Weeks to Wealth is all about. It's the 52 Millionaire Wealth Principles, and I'm glad to have you here today. So let's dive into Alleviate a Frustration. Step one, alleviate a frustration. Hands to the camp if you've ever had a problem in your life that really pissed you off, really got you excited, feeling anger. Yes, yes. Have you ever gotten to one and thought about money at the same time? You're so mad and you're thinking about money and you're like, damn, like I'd pay anything just to get rid of this. You ever have that problem? That's financial frustration. That's frustration in communication with money. That's frustration that has a monetary value around it. And have you ever had an experience so frustrating, so annoying that you would pay any amount of money, but you couldn't find somebody to do it for you? Hands to if you ever had that experience. I know. I've had that problem too. That's why I built South Coast Capital Investments. There was nobody just giving me equity in their company to work for them. And so I had to go build my own company and give myself equity. Does that make sense? Sometimes you do have to build your own. Sometimes you do have to go out there and build it if it doesn't exist already. There was nobody fixing my community. There was nobody fixing Fall River. There's nobody buying the real estate and saying, hey, I'm going to turn this city around. I'm going to, improve these areas. And so that's what I did with my company. I made sure that we went into those blocks, kicked out the drug dealers, kicked out the prostitutes, kicked out the gangs, brought the police in, asked the city, worked with the city to update and upgrade the streets and the sidewalks, right? While we increased and improved the value of our buildings and put in good quality tenants, moms, families. Like that was a change, a decision that we made. We alleviated a frustration that the community was having. And so they worked with us. Does that make sense? So part two to this wealth principle. So before we do it, we're going to do an exercise throughout the entire process. This way you remember. The exercises will hook the mind, right? Exercise will allow you to remember these things. It's going to hook your mind. Write down a frustration that you have that is huge, a big frustration, like massive frustration. I have a coaching program that's $25,000, which by the way, don't worry, if you're here for the first time, I'm not selling it. You're not charging anybody today. But that $25,000 program is there because I've been asked to do things I don't want to do. I've been asked to do big things. People have said, well, could you go and help me buy a 50-unit complex? Would you help me buy 50 units? And in my head, I'm like, do you know how much work that is for me to do it my damn self, right? For me to go out there and do it with you, that means I got to do it twice this year or 3 times this year. Like I'll do it for the right price. And I identified what that price was. Like for $25,000, shit. Like I'll jump on a plane with you a couple times a year. Let's go do it. Does that make sense? It's got to also make financial sense for you. That's one of the last parts of this principle. So what is something that you've experienced that was such a high pain point, like a frustration? And it could be something you've experienced, or we could jump right into the second part of this lesson, which is experienced by a large group of people. I want you to, everybody has to pick something. Everybody's been mad, right? Hands to Cam, you've been mad before. Frustrated. Like you just want something done, but it's not being done. Everybody's had that experience. Excellent. So write that down. Write that thing down. Who knows? Write 5 down. If you got 5, if you got 3, if you have just a mad person this week, like write all 5 down. That's okay too. The more people are mad, the more opportunity there is. People tend to pay for things that piss them off. Now, they don't pay for things they need. They pay for things they want, and they want problems solved. People want problems solved. They don't want that thing in their life anymore. The more pain it causes, the more they're like, dude, like I got to do something about this. Can't deal with this anymore. Right? I gotta move into this new situation. I'm tired of being the guy with the small house. I got to get the big house. I'm tired of being the person with the gas guzzling car. I got to get to the Tesla, right? FOMO moves people forward. So if there's some sort of pain around their life, identify it. Large group of people. What do I mean by a large group of people? I'm talking about not like 10 people, unless you're selling a super high-end product like a company. Like Ron and I occasionally talk about who would buy Alchemist Nation from us one day. Hopefully Amazon. I'd like to be the Amazon of coaching, right? So we look at who our buyer is and we identify, can we build a product so big, so massive that they would come along and be like, it's way easier for us to just buy it from you than to build it ourselves. Does that make sense? There's probably, 100 or 1,000 buyers out there for a product like this eventually down the road as we build it. So don't go with a small group. Go with a large enough group where you could easily find the clients, easily find those people. And here's the deal, by the way, with this product that we're selling. It makes money the entire time, right? Training company makes money the entire time, has a massive positive impact the entire time. It feels moral, ethical, and it's legal. And so I could do this for the rest of my life. Does that make sense? Regardless of whether or not we sell it. Your business has to have that feeling to it too. Has to have that feeling of it's moral, ethical, legal, fun, enjoyable, impactful, makes money. If it doesn't make money, don't call me. If it doesn't make money, we're not going to have the conversation, right? Now, I can do a charity if that charity has an income, if that charity is sustainable, or that charity can increase its income so it can expand, but I don't like charities that are just collapsing on themselves. Right? I want things to expand. I want you reaching out. I want you going outside to big groups. So it's an example of a large group. Well, one of our training courses goes after wholesalers. We say, hey, wholesalers, you got a problem. You're not closing deals. And the deals you are closing, they're small. These are your paychecks, right? $5,000, $10,000, like small. We got a training program for multifamily wholesaling where those paychecks are $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. They're called acquisition fees. Hence the camera, if you recognize, a wholesaler would be like, oh my God, I want that. That alleviates a problem I've got. And here's the other side. When you go after multifamily, there's less people on the road because less people have the guts to go do it. Most people are like, well, I've seen single families my entire life. I'll just do this over and over and over and over. That's a job. That's a lot of freaking work. Multifamily, score one, you're good for 6 months. Score another one, we'll brag about you. Does that make sense? And guess who you're talking to? High-level people who've built million-dollar empires, multi-million-dollar empires. You want a mentor? Serve multifamily investors, right? It's just a much better life. So write down your frustrations. Hands to the camera if you've been writing a list of frustrations. You've just been like mad all week. Hell yeah, opportunities. You see opportunities. I know how this community is. Look, when I say mad, man, I just mean like you see problems, right? We're positive people. Every single one of us is positive. We don't have that negative side. We don't get angry, do we? Of course we do. We're normal human beings. It's okay to get mad as long as we shift over. Like Dr. Terry Wade is always saying, pay attention to your emotions, shift over, and leverage that energy, leverage that emotion to do something positive. But those frustrating moments are opportunities. Because if you're experiencing it and you're highly developed, if you're experiencing it, there's somebody else out there experiencing it and they don't know what to do with it. Right? You're in here, you got coaches, you got mentors, you've got accountability partners, you got friends in the business doing the deals. You have an unfair advantage. It's easy to forget. It's very easy to forget that you have an unfair advantage in this business, in life in general, because you got us constantly reminding you, hey, by the way, this is what millionaires do. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 millionaires on the call right now, not including myself. You're hanging out with millionaires. You're hanging out with multimillionaires, some of us, right? Like we're giving you good advice. We're giving you what's working for us. That's an unfair advantage. You know how many people have 6 millionaires in their circle that they can just reach out to anytime? Not a lot of people, just the other millionaires, right? They say you're the average of your 5 closest friends. The average of your 5 closest friends. Get close to us. Be here every Saturday. Be here on Mondays. Be here on Wednesdays. Be here on Thursdays when we're doing our events. Be here on Friday when I'm teaching Be the Bank. Learn the principles that we're teaching now so that one day you can live that life. Frustrations are okay to have, though, because they're a dead giveaway of what other people are experiencing. So when you do catch a frustration, get excited. Write it down. Oh shit, like, I'm mad. I just want this done. Write that down. Somebody else might want it. Now test, are there enough people in your area, in your network, in your arena who have that problem? And when I talk about arena, I don't mean in the Alchemist Nation arena. I'm talking about outside of the Alchemist Nation, because if we all just worked and sold to each other, we'd run out of money. Does that make sense? Eventually, like, you can only pull so much, that we have a finite amount here. But when you turn around and as a team, we look outside and we throw it in, now we have an infinite amount. Focus and direction is very important. Outside of here, there are a ton of people and groups who need our help. Outside of this community, there are a ton of people who need you to help them. And inside this community, there may be people who need you to help them as well. But it's not a big enough community to support or sustain a business. Does that make sense? It's just, you got to go bigger. I look at this community and I think, okay, this is impactful, but the impact I'm looking to have is massive. The impact that, changing the world is a massive game. That's 10,000 people that have to come through this program. 100,000 people that have to come through this program. There's no way I can do it just by saying, Elizabeth Miller, have you gotten better this week? Although it does fulfill me and make me feel better seeing what everybody's doing. I have to bring more people in. I have to train you. I have to build you up. Understanding that there are more people outside that need more help. More people who want to buy real estate, sell real estate, who want to flip real estate, who want to own real estate, who want to cut your grass, who want to fix your buildings, plumbers, electricians, contractors of any kind. There's so much money out there to be had. My coach told me when I was trying to build up Fall River, that was my focus. I was trying to build up Fall River. And he said, look, as long as you're trying to do anything, you might as well get good at it. He said, the only way to build up Fall River is you got to sell outside of Fall River. You got to get outside of your city in order to develop your city. He's like, because all the money in the city is already in the city. It's already right there. So you got to find a large enough group of people who are suffering a problem that you can solve with your city. And so I shifted away from Fall River and I went to Boston. Boston's about an hour away. Massive demographic, right? Over 1 million people live in the greater Boston area. And so I shifted from a less than $100,000 person population, and I shifted to a over 1 million person population with an income level that was 2 times stronger than my city. 2 times stronger than my city. My average income in Fall River was $34,000 at the time. Boston, $74,000. We could see the difference, right? So we had higher income earners, likely people who were sitting on cash, and the real estate prices were 3 times stronger than Fall River. So they had a barrier to entry, but if anybody had entered a few years ago, they had equity. Whereas in Fall River, there was no barrier to entry. The price was just low enough. And so now I could go to a place where their problem, their barrier to entry, and their too much equity, these 2 problems, by the way, having too much equity in your property is a problem. That means you're not earning anything on it. And so I could solve those problems with my product, which was the entire city of Fall River. I could go to Boston and say, hey, here's the problem that you have. Come over to Fall River. Here's the opportunity that I have. Your problem is the solution. My solution is your problem. We can put these together, and now you can have 3 houses for selling that 1 house, which means now you've got, instead of 3 units, now maybe you've got 18 units that are all cash flowing. Instead of having the problem of 1 tenant being missing, it would take 3 of our tenants to be missing for you to lose the same amount of cash flow. And the odds are just better that you're going to keep cash flowing because less people are going to leave. Just keep it running, taking care of it. In Boston, they're always trying to get that next cheaper apartment. How do I save a little more? As soon as the apartments are so small in Fall River, we got 3-bedroom apartments for the same price, for half the price. Does that make sense? I was solving a problem. Excellent. Write down the solution to the problem you wrote down. Write down the solution to the problem you wrote down. Write down the solution. If you have multiple problems, write down multiple solutions. But if you built the right business around it, maybe one business can solve all those problems. Right? Maybe one business or one solution can solve all the problems. If you really get good at noticing your frustrations and saying, man, like for me, it was, man, I wish just people had more knowledge. I can't stand talking to a wholesaler who doesn't know how to evaluate a deal. It's so frustrating. Built a training course. Man, I can't stand real estate agents who don't know how to go out and prospect and find deals. Built Get the Attention. I cannot handle being asked by my students, how do I get the money to do this deal? Built Get the Money. Does that make sense? By the way, ask me the questions. I still love you guys. I want to serve and I want to support. But I built training programs around the questions I was constantly getting. It created a frustration for my community. And so I took it on and I said, all right, I'll solve that problem. Right? I was training agents. I said, how do I work with investors like you did? Well, I'll build working with investors, a training to solve that problem. But I built a training company. I built a training company that solved all the problems that I kept getting asked. Does that make sense? So maybe all those problems that you're coming up with, all the frustrations, could be solved by an individual company, could be solved by an individual activity or process or something you sell or do or a service. Hands to the camera if you're having fun with this process. This is an interesting principle. Excellent. I love this one. All right. So alleviate a frustration experienced. We all have those by a large group of people. It could be an entire different city, a demographic. It could be gender. It could be race. It could be culture. It could be age. It could be just things that they have in common, video gamers versus people who watch sports. So a large enough group of people willing to pay enough to make it worth your effort. Remember I was talking about my big coaching program earlier where I was saying, $25,000 is the kind of that number where I was like, that would be worth my time. Anything under that, I'm like, dude, why am I doing this? Hands to the camera if you ever done something, you're like, I don't know why I'm doing it. Yeah, that's because you didn't charge enough, right? The solution to that problem is just ask for more. And asking for more does two things. Hands to the camera if you know $25,000 is too much for your budget right now. Excellent. And there's no shame in it. Saves me the trouble. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're not there yet. That means I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to do that project yet. Hands to the camera if you know 25,000 is enough, but that's not exactly what you're looking for. That's not the thing you're looking for. Hands to the camera with that. All right. So hands to the camera if you know 25,000 is a good price and it is something you're interested in. Oh shit. Damn it. All right. Well, Ace, I guess I'll prepare. I'll get ready for you. Let's give Ace a round of applause. The reason the price is at that point is it's just enough to weed out the not serious people, right? Like if somebody comes up with 25,000 and comes to me, dude, I get your dedication. I get it. I'm into then. Like, let's go. Let's rock. I'm all yours. You've got to price your stuff just enough. And you have to be in this position, by the way. You have to be in this position. You have to be in the position where you don't want to deliver unless they want the delivery. Too many people work with just anybody. Too many people build their business and are like, I'll work with anybody. Just bring in the business. That's not how you build a fun business. That's not how you build a sustainable business. You've got to be so valuable and push your value price up to the point where only the serious players come through. You're not Walmart. Look, Walmart is a system-built business. The only way that you could get to a Walmart is to spend millions and billions of dollars to get to that level. You can't make their level of income on the profit margin that they're operating on unless you've got massive systems, massive teams. Does that make sense? Don't play the volume game. Play the quality game. I charge for the mentorship, right? I charge for the mentorship, that $1,200, because it's just painful enough for somebody just getting started where they're like, I don't know. But then for the people who are players, people are like, yeah, this is I want this. This is no big deal. No big deal. They jump right in. It attracts motivated people. And then after they've made the payment, they're in. Nobody, I don't care how successful you are. You spend $1,000, you're in. Hands to the camp if you recognize that. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody discounts $1,000, right? No matter how big you get, if you spent it, there's something in your mind that still says it's $1,000. You know, I know at some point in my life that took me a week to earn, or that took me 2 weeks to earn, or that took me a day to earn. I'm at a point where $1,000, I got to be over $1,000 a day. Yeah, I'm well over $1,000 a day. And so, but I remember when $1,000 took me 2 weeks. You know, you never forget that. You know, so I think of $1,000 and I'm like, ooh, what am I going to do with it today? How am I going to invest this? I know Mike's at a point where it's a little over $2,000 a day, right, Mike? That's right. So the income may increase, but the value of the dollar, or the value, our memories to the value, hasn't changed. So that's the reason behind it. They've got to be able to pay, right? Like, you can't serve everybody. And here's the hardest part, especially as a coach and a trainer. The easiest way to serve everybody is write a book. But writing a book is the hardest thing I've ever done, to be perfectly honest. Hands to the camera if you've written a book before, coaches, speakers, mentors. Yes. It's like the hardest thing we do. It's literally the hardest work that we do, but it serves the most people because everybody can afford $7. And the people that can't afford $7, they got bigger problems, right? They got bigger problems. Man, if you can't afford a $7 book or a $12 book, you probably need that book more than anybody else. But go build up the $10, $12 to buy these books, and then digest them and build your wealth and increase your income. But in the beginning, when you're building your business, you can't, like, a book is a delivered product that handles everything without you being involved. It's scalable, right? Like, you could sell one book, you could sell 500 books, sell 1,000 books, 5,000 books, and impact that many people's lives. Whereas when you're doing the service or product yourself, it's a lot easier. No systems necessary. You show up, you're awesome, right? Instant, like, we'll think, who's ever had your car detailed before? I mean, somebody else comes, vacuums, washes it. Awesome. Could you start a detailing business tomorrow with yourself? Could you go and wash somebody's car tomorrow, like instantly? That wouldn't be an issue, right? I'm not saying you'd want to or you'd have the time, but system-wise, hose, Windex, right, rags, other things that clean cars, and you show up for like $50. You could go and start this business. Now, to build a $1 million car cleaning business, that would take systems. That would take a lot of people involved, right? They don't have the robots that just go clean cars yet. So it would take people involved to go in and do this process, this system. You could do the drive-through on the outside, but the inside still work. There's no getting around that right now, but give it a few years. So those systems, those pieces, that takes time. That takes time. And if you're going to be investing your time and spending your time, you have to be doing it with people who have money to pay. You cannot serve the broke. Now, eventually, car detailers may go out of business when there's a robot that just, runs around the car in 5-10 minutes, handles everything. We don't have to charge anything anymore. It's like, oh shit, like $5, I'll detail the whole car. Not even a person, just a button. Alexa's like, I got you, no worries, just go stand over there next to the jukebox and your car's going to come out on the other side cleaned as a whistle, right? And they send like the Jetsons around and everything's all cleaned up for you. So the cost goes down. But as long as there's labor involved and people and time involved, the cost is a little bit higher. So if somebody wants a $5 detailing job, but it costs you $100 and you've got to make a profit, so it's $150 to detail that car, that person's going to give you a hard time. Oh, well, I want $5. Well, is there anybody else doing it for $5? No, but that's all I got. All right, well, have a great day. But too many entrepreneurs will be like, come on, you got to have more. Come on, like let's do this, the hard pitch, the sales pitch. Like, dude, you don't need a sales pitch. Just go to people who have money. Just go to people who have money and a desire. Definition of a buyer. You ready? Write this down. The definition of a buyer is one who buys. Write this down. Don't dismiss it. I see you. No, I see you. Don't dismiss it because it's simple. The definition of a buyer is one who buys. What I mean by one who buys is they've bought before. They've bought before. And it takes two things to buy. Write these down. It takes money and desire. That's it. They don't have to need it. They just have to want it. Money and desire. Just two things to be a buyer. Oh, that rhymes. It takes money and desire to be a buyer. Write it down. That's value. Now, when I talk about being a buyer and buying, that activity, there's another phrase that we talk about often in the personal development arena, the sales arena. A buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. A buyer buys. They buy everything. Mike Gabriel, he taught me a term called the hyper buyer. Hyper buyer. You get in front of a hyper buyer, they're like, yep, sign me up. Bring it in. Cool, whatever. Sign me up. Hyper buyer. I'm a hyper buyer, right? You put a product in front of me that I know is going to move me forward. You don't have to sell it. Just bullet points are enough. Literally bullet points, price, ROI, bullet points, price, timeline. Like just give me the content. I don't need a sales pitch. You don't have to spend time with me. I don't need a 10-page. I don't even read it anyway. Just bullet points. If I see what I'm looking for, I will buy it. Does that make sense? Yeah. The other day, Dorina came over and she's like, oh, you asked me to research PR companies. I was experiencing a problem. Anybody ever try to get on 100 podcasts in a year? Other podcasts, not run your own? Okay. So maybe I'm the only one with this problem. But it's an expensive problem and I'm willing to pay for it. I'm like, oh, whatever it takes. Babe, just find somebody who does this, right? And she found somebody. It was $15,000 to get on. Dorina, how many podcasts was that? How many
It's
podcasts?
anywhere between 12 to 24 within 6 months, with possibility to go on bigger pockets and other big ones.
Whoa, let's give Dorina a round of applause. She is crushing it in the PR arena. So she identifies a solution to my problem. And I'm like, yeah, sign it up, like run it. Just like, can you put me on a monthly plan? If it's 6 months and they're not guaranteeing any results, I want to be on a monthly plan, because if I don't see any results in month 1 or 2, I'm cutting them. I'm not giving them $15,000 and then not getting a return. Hence the camera, if that makes sense. And then she did what Dorina does. By the way, she's so caring and detail oriented, and so like she pays attention to everything. She's like, well, they said this and they said that, and then they told me they have this. And I was like, babe, can they do it or not? Like, I just want to know, do you believe that they can do it or not? And she's like, yeah, I think these are the one. Sign it up. Like, just run it. Right? A hyper buyer just buys. A hyper buyer, when they identify a solution to what they want, they don't need all the crap. They don't need all the details. They just want to know what they're getting in bullet points and get the money. Hyper buyers. Now, other buyers, like buyers, normal buyers that buy, they have a pattern. Write this down. They have bought before, right? They have bought before. Buyers buy. Hands to the camp if you've ever bought a training program before, a course or an online training. Excellent. Hands to the camera if you bought mine as well. If you bought the mentorship, have considered buying the mentorship. No, in the near future, you'll be buying the mentorship. Buyers everywhere. I see you. I get it. I'm one too. I buy the things that move me forward. I want speed to results. I want action. I want intense, quick results so I can move forward in my goals. Life is only valuable if you move quickly. If you move too slow, yeah, you can make $1 million over 20 years. I did the math, right? That's the path I was on. But if you make $1 million in a year, you get different things, different results, different experiences. So speed to the results, speed to that level of education increases your ability to earn. Who's heard that it's up here what makes you a millionaire, not the actual millions? Yes. So speed to this, getting this there faster, is the secret to success. That's why I used hypnosis to get myself there. Hands to the camera if you're afraid of hypnosis or know people afraid of hypnosis. Okay, this is a badass group. I'll be real. Okay, Jamie, thank you. Thank you. But I was too. I was terrified, right? When people were like, "Oh, I used hypnosis to become successful." I was like, "You did what? Like, what if they say something wrong?" He's like, "Dude, like my life wasn't going so great, so I just went and I had new hypnosis put in." Right? I was hypnotized anyway. I was already doing the same thing every day. Like I was running the same program, hypnotized by the stop sign to stop, by the red light to stop, by the green light to go. And that's metaphorical in all things in life. If somebody treated me nice, I was nice to them. If somebody treated me poorly, I was mad at them. And like I was just hypnotized to experience life by whatever the world delivered. But instead, I decided to create and learn. And here's my ego, right? I had to learn hypnosis myself before I'd use it. So I had to go learn it. I used the same coach Dr. Terry Wager studied under. And I went out to learn from him as a mentor. And I learned hypnosis, and I created my own self-hypnosis to get my mind right. Right. I see opportunities in everything. I love change. Change is good. I'm the captain of my life. I decide my success. I love making money. I enjoy working with rich people. I love serving rich people. I love spending my time around people who talk about ideas, growth, success, businesses, wealth, real estate. When I see or hear a new financial opportunity, I get excited and I learn about it. These are things I had to convince myself, because previously something like that, like crypto, would come up and I'd be like, yeah, I don't do that. Like these are just things that I experienced in myself. Answer the camera if you can relate to any of those thoughts or experiences. I got an unfair advantage. I read over 350 books. Hence the camera if you're committed to reading a book a week with me. Hell yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's why I love this community so much. Each one of you is a power player. Each one of you is developing so much faster than the rest of the world. So we read a book a week, or 2 books a week, or 3 books a week. We cheat. We use Audible. That's right. Everybody's like, oh, that's cheating. Shit. Call me a cheater. I'll see you at the top. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be at the top and I'll see you down at the bottom. But I'll wave. I cheated. I used Audible. I consumed the content faster than you. That's okay, right? We leverage those tools. Leverage those tools, man. Like I Google everything. People will be like, "Oh, I got a joke for you." They tell me the joke. They're like, "You can't Google it." I was like, "No, you can't Google it. I just did. This is the answer." Right? Like I don't fall for that. Who cares if this figured it out? That's not the point. The point is, do you have that knowledge? Do you have that knowledge? Because if you have that knowledge, you have it like that, you win. You get what you want. Don't let anybody fool you. Oh, you got to be smarter than everybody else. No, dude, I just got to know the people smarter than me. I got to surround myself with those people smarter than me. And I've got to inspire them to love me enough to protect me if something comes my way. I was telling this to Dorina yesterday. I said, babe, like, even if we lost our way, if worse comes to worse, you and I, we lost our way and we didn't know what to do. All we have to do is open our eyes, look around. Our community will remind us who we are and what we're doing. We just look around, the community be like, well, building 100 millionaires, guys. Yep, you're kind of, that's your job. Go out there, go build and train and teach and buy real estate, build businesses, invest, so that we can learn how to do that. There's nothing more inspiring than seeing each and every one of you grow. There's nothing more inspiring for me than seeing your smiles when you get a new awareness. You know why I asked for the cameras on? Because I pay attention to your eyes. I pay attention to your smiles. I pay attention to your head nods, Dave. I do. I pay attention to thumbs up, right? Like, and I see it, and it inspires me to move in that direction. And if I see something that doesn't make sense, I go back and I clean it up, right? I cannot do these trainings without somebody in front of me. What are my weaknesses? What are my weaknesses? Without somebody in front of me, I don't create content. I really don't. Because without somebody in front of you, what's the point? Right? If there isn't somebody being served, somebody gaining, somebody criticizing, you're not growing. Right? The only way to make these trainings maximum, like that, the highest level that they could be, is to bring in an audience that wants something and then give it to them. And if you're not giving it to them, you'll know. There won't be 77 people on the call. Does that make sense? And if ever there's something you need or want, let me know, because I'm all about it. I'm all about improvement and tightening up. Like Mike Shine the other day, he said, "Hey man, how do we get to 30? Like we're millionaires. How do we get the $30,000 deposit now that all of our money is out in assets? Like everything is out in assets. How do we get the $30,000, 30% deposit for the, yeah, and I know it wasn't 30,000, Mike. How do we get the 30% deposit on these multi-million-dollar buildings now that all assets are deployed, all cash is out there working? And yeah, we have high incomes and we bring money in, but we're talking about having $500,000 or $1 million to go and deploy into a $4 million building, right? Like our income isn't to that level where we can just, in a week have that. Does that make sense? So he asked that question. And so I built a training course around it. I said, Mike, you're not the only one suffering this. Maybe at that level of dollar amount you are, but probably not. I know a couple of our other millionaires would think the same thing. How do we do it? And so we built a training course for May 8th and 9th. It's called, what I call it? Multifamily passive income. So multifamily passive income, May 8th and 9th, and the price is amazing. It's $488.88. And what I love about the price, it's got 888 in it, which is lucky. So when you buy something with 888 in it, you're attracting money back to you. Serena, do you have the link for that? Or any of our affiliates? If you already have the link for that, you can drop that in the chat. It should be in your affiliate partnership section. It's less than $500. It's 2 days, 2 full days. We're starting at 12, ending at 8 on day 1, that's Saturday, and then starting at 11, ending at 6 on Sunday. 2 days of multifamily passive income. Not the stuff that I was sold when I bought real estate and got into business. I'm not talking 3 families, 6 families. I'm talking passive income from multifamilies, slightly larger stuff. The deals Ron and I do, 24 units, right? 50 units, like in that ballpark. Hands to the camera if you know you'd like to be picking up 10, 12 unit buildings, portfolios. Hands to the camera if you know it's actually easier than picking up those 3 families. Yes, it is. It is because they make money. They make money. I love this stuff. My affirmations, man, I love money. You've heard the love of money is the root of all evil. That's wrong. It's not the truth. Look, I love money, right? I love you more. Right? I'm just full of love. And the love of money it's just, dude, like money just means I fucking crushed it today. It just means I went out and added value. I served people today, right? I built businesses that when I get paid, that means I served people. I deliver far more in the world than I take back in money, right? I deliver far more out in the world with people than I ever receive in cash. And that's the life I live. I'm okay with that. Hands to the camera if you're okay with producing massive amounts of energy and receiving massive amounts of money. And you deserve it, and you should. So I will not sell the mentorship today, but if you know the mentorship is something you're interested in, it is only $1,200 for the 8 weeks where we kick your butt and you get the 8 coaches who are all millionaires and you got us for life and you get this community. Hands to the camera if you've been through the mentorship, you're a graduate. Excellent. Let's give each one of you a round of applause. The mentorship is designed for your success. The sooner you jump in, the sooner you're successful. Mike and I recently had an opportunity to invest in an asset, and we noticed that every day we didn't invest, we were losing about $1,000 a day. $1,000 a day. Hands to the camera if you understand the opportunity cost of your life right now. Every week you go by, you don't invest in yourself appropriately. You're missing potentially more than that. Every week that goes by, because it's not about what you're going to earn tomorrow. It's about what you can earn 5 years from now, what you can earn 3 years from now. Imagine if you don't sign up today, that's 1 week more that you don't get that 5 years from now. Every week you let go by pushes your 5-year person out another week. You know what the biggest regret I have? And the only regret I have in my life that I have heard from other millionaires, I should have started sooner. The only regret that I have ever heard from all the millionaires and multimillionaires I've ever interviewed and had conversation with, which by the way is a freaking lot. This is who I hang out with. This is who my phone is made up of. They always say the same thing. I wish I started sooner. I wish I started sooner. How crazy is that? And like I'm telling you from personal experience, I wish I started sooner. I wish I had the guts to start sooner. I do. I wish that I had the guts to go and sign up for that first coaching course because that first one, I learned the most. I learned that I was a freaking idiot. I learned that I had no freaking clue how money worked, how this world worked, how business worked. I was just like, oh my God, like I've been doing it wrong, all wrong. And I've been doing it for a long time. I was 28 years old at the time. I've been doing it thinking I was one of the highest income earners in my family at the time. So I thought I was doing it right. But I was stressed. I ended up divorced. I was in bad shape. Healthy. I wasn't healthy. And emotionally, I was just not a happy person. I came from the wrong place earning money. I had to prove myself. Hands the can if you ever had to prove yourself. Yeah. It's not a healthy place to earn money. You try to earn money from having to prove yourself. Guess what? Every dollar you have to prove yourself again. Every dollar you have to prove yourself again, and prove yourself again, and prove yourself again. You get yourself $10,000 in front of you, you got to go earn it again to prove that you're worthy, to prove that you're something, to earn that love from yourself, from other people. So instead, I changed my mind. I said, I'm going to start earning from a place of love, earning from a place of joy, earning from a place of fulfillment. Like I know I've impacted, had an improvement in the world. And so I'll earn from that. And so every dollar I make, I'm inspired to go make another dollar because I had an impact on somebody's life. Hands to the can if you know that's the way you want to earn your money. You can do that in your current business. You can absolutely do that in your current business with the skill set you have, with the intention just changed to improve people's lives, to advance people around you, to improve their situation. So if I go back to the wealth principle today, by the way, hands to the camera if you've learned something from today. Excellent. We're not done. We've got the book of the week coming up. We are not done. So alleviate a frustration experienced by a large group of people who are willing to pay enough to make it worth your effort. To make it worth your effort. Hands to the camera if you know I'm satisfied teaching this training course. I am paid enough to make it worth my effort. I'm serving a large enough group of people who are suffering the same frustration. Hands to the camera if you want to make more money this year. Hell yeah. Hands to the camera if you want to do it spending less time in your business. Give yourselves a hell yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's what I deliver. That's what I sell. You can go to gualtermurillo.com/GA and sign up for the mentorship. That's my super special affiliate link. Or you can have a conversation with Elizabeth Miller, with Darina, with Kevin Pereira, with Fred Posimo. Have a conversation with one of our affiliates and come on in. Ask them what they've done well. Dave Cordero is another one. Who else is an affiliate partner signed up with us online? Jennifer Sullivan, Kim Harvey, Terry Wager, Bill Vanderwater, Tom Osbeck, Wilbert De La Rosa. Any one of these people have been through our program, and you can ask them questions on whether it works. Since the camera, you know that's the best way to sell something. Ask people who actually have purchased the product, who are still leveraging and using the product. And look, they're still here at this call, which means they're still getting value. Here's what I'll tell you about my alchemists. Each one of them grows daily. You can't stop these people. Each one of them is growing. Each one of them is thinking. Each one of them is reading. Each one of them is improving. They're building something. These are builders. These ladies and gentlemen are pushing intelligently forward. They don't work hard. They just do. They just accomplish. They learn and they work intelligently and they move themselves forward. I love it. 100 grand. Let's give Kim Harvey a round of applause. It's a powerful community. Reach out to them. Ask. But I will tell you, every day that goes by, every week that you delay, that's 1 week that you're missing your future life. Every week that you procrastinate, every week that you don't make those phone calls. And I'll tell you personal experience. I'm selling shares in the company. I'm selling shares in South Coast Capital Investments so we can raise some capital, some liquidity, so that we can go and purchase some properties and then refi afterwards, so we can move a lot faster because we're in a fast market and we have to do that, right? Hence the camera, if that makes sense. Having a lot of cash in your pocket would be good. Giving up some of your company to do that and give yourself an unfair advantage to buy more property makes a lot of sense. Yes. Learn from what we do. But I want to go buy more property. I want to teach more training courses. And so I have to schedule calls. I have to remember to do follow-up, which, by the way, follow-up's never been my strength. That's why Darina does follow-up. That's why Ron was follow-up. But with the investor relationships, that's my job. I have to do follow-up, which, by the way, Jillian Johnson, I have a call with you today. Melanie Santos, we have a call. I'm looking forward to it, ladies. My job is to go and do those follow-up calls. Sometimes I get to my phone and I'm like, oh, I don't want to text anybody right now. I just want to watch Undercover Billionaire. I convince myself that what I'm doing is more important. Answer Cam if you've ever done that before. But if I'd already had these, by the way, Melanie, Jillian, I could have had these conversations with you last week. Is that fair to say? I could have just been like, hey, let's talk, right? But I didn't. I delayed. There's some of you that I know I haven't reached out to that I have to go reach out to have a conversation with next week that I was supposed to reach out to this week. But I convinced myself, well, I'm hanging out with Rod Cleef right now. Hey, this is pretty cool. This is more important, right? Hands to the camera if you know, hanging out with I was in a room full of multi-millionaires, all of them. Every single one of them owns more than 1,000 units. It was a cool group. But I convinced myself that that was more important than texting my investors and saying, hey, here's the opportunity to jump into sell. I robbed them of the opportunity to be in a week earlier, right? That's really the truth. That's really what I did. Your success is the same thing. You're robbing somebody of the ability to earn with you, to grow with you, if you don't make those phone calls. And I'm not perfect. I'm not up here saying, oh, this is what I do. You should do it. I'm saying this is what I've learned. This is something you already know to be true. Hence, if you already know this to be true in your own life, I'm simply somebody reminding you of the truths that exist. You can't change the principles of the universe. They are the principles. The rules are the rules because they are the rules. I've just written them down. I'm just sharing my experience with them. Does that make sense? So I love the 52 Weeks to Wealth. And what I love about the most are the 52 books that associate with it. Mike Shine, if you could bring out the book of the week. And this is a fun one. Many of you have probably read this already. Mike Shine, you're up.
All right, cool. The book of the week is The E-Myth Revisited. And this is not The E-Myth Revisited. This is the original. So don't get this one. Make sure it says Revisited. There you go, Fred. Awesome. Terry, awesome. So this book is basically the Bible for people starting out a business the right way, not the wrong way. Because the E in E-Myth stands for entrepreneurial. And basically inside us, we have a manager, an entrepreneur, and a technician. And we think we can start a business. And Michael Gerber basically tells us, you can't. That's not the way to start a business. The way to start a business is the way McDonald's did. Have a plan to have 5,000 outlets. Think about that. You want to start a clothing store. Plan it as if there were going to be 5,000 outlets. And that way you are not creating a job for yourself where you have to save everybody like Superman or Superwoman. You create it with systems. And that's what Walter's talking about today. Systems so that even though I'm a vegan, I am very impressed with the way McDonald's made their system so that a 16-year-old in California or a 16-year-old in Japan can make a Big Mac perfectly. And so that's what the E-Myth is all about. Create the systems so that you don't have to hire people that you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to work on it. Lowest common denominator. It's an amazing book. It really, if you're just starting a business, it's the first book you should read because it'll set you straight in the right direction to go. It's an unbelievable book. Yeah, you as soon as you read it, you're in a club because everybody mentions this book. Everybody says, "Oh, have you read the E-Myth? Have you read the E-Myth?" So, book of the week, the E-Myth. I highly recommend it. And by the way, you're all starting businesses or running businesses already. Boom.
Let's give Mike Shine, the keeper of the books, a round of applause. If you haven't had an opportunity to talk to Mike and you're in the mentorship program, Mike is known as the holistic attorney or the closer because he closes all of our real estate deals. He makes sure they get through. He's the king of partnerships and just a phenomenal resource. If you haven't closed a deal with Mike yet, what are you doing? Go get activity. Go do some deals. Right? Get some deals going. Close a deal with Mike. You'll see the experience. You'll know what I'm talking about. So real estate investing, being an entrepreneur, being a crypto investor, being a stock trader, we solve a problem. Identify the pain, identify the people you're willing to serve, go out, build that success for yourself. And remember, if you don't do it, nobody else will. But if you don't do it for a long enough period of time, somebody else will. And it could have been you. All right, if you don't do it today, nobody else will. But if you wait a year or 2 years or 3 years, eventually somebody will fill that gap. The universe has a way of inspiring people when something needs to get done. Does that make sense? Have you seen it before? You've had a great idea and then somebody did it. You had a great idea, you didn't say anything, and then somebody else went and did it and got the glory. Yeah. Oh, we're geniuses, aren't we? No, the person who does it doesn't have to be smart. You don't get points for smart, you get points for done. In life, you don't get points for being the smartest in the room. You get points for being the most valuable in the room. That makes sense? Valuable training? Excellent. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. Next week's Wealth Principle is Wealth Principle 13. Build a contagious culture in your business and your marketing. Last week, we talked about doubling down on your marketing. I have seen this community go out and push hard on the Facebook Lives. Hands to the camera if you've noticed, there's more activity on Facebook right now through the Alchemist Nation community, teaching, training, educating, and growing attention on your business. It's absolutely amazing. I want to see it continue because I know you're getting more messages. I know you're getting more people looking at you. And here's the cool thing about marketing. You won't feel the difference for a few weeks, but 3-4 weeks of continuous activity, eventually somebody messages you and you make money. Sometimes it's fast. I've been doing this for a long time. So when I go reactivate week 1, boom, I got income coming in. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes week 2, week 3, week 4. And if you're not clear on your message, if you're bouncing all over the place with your message, well, it can take a lot longer. Get clear with your message. Have the conversation with Jason Centeno on Fridays at 11 a.m. He has Brand You, a great training. If you don't like the job you're in, have a conversation with Fred Postimo on Tuesdays at 6. He has the Make Money, Have Fun, 52 weeks to make money, have fun, which obviously is different from the 52 weeks to wealth because we're just building wealth. And he's the bridge. He's in between. If you haven't talked to Dr. Terry Wager, which, by the way, let's go around to the coaches and see what their tips are for today. Starting with the amazing Dr. Terry Wager, the king of generator coaching. Dr. Terry, you're up.
You know, this has been really good. I love hearing you talk about growing community and moving outside of the community. So many times I've been in many communities, and what I see is we get really comfortable in the community, and then the community ends up working on itself instead of going out and bringing more people in. And that's what one of the things Walter's talking about today is we want to reach out and grab more people, bring them in. If you have been influenced by this community to grow, it's our duty to go out and bring more people here so that we can help more people. The mission is 100 millionaires or 200 or 300. If you're involved and you want to build 100 millionaires, it's your duty to bring people back here, not to sell in here, to go out there and bring people back here. And what we end up thinking about is how we can get something more out of here. But what we get is the ability to go out and share a message, go out and help people grow. And so think about this as the hub. This is the secure base. And we go out and connect with other people, connect with other groups, connect with other businesses, and then bring them back here so that we can grow this the way we want to. This is the foundation. We want to go out and bring more in because that's how we grow as a community. And so that's the message I've been listening to. I've been picking up. That's what I do. I go out to all kinds of different groups and talk in them, connect with them, and then let them know about what's going on here, what we're doing, what we're all about, because we're about building 100 millionaires. That's what we're doing. And so super exciting. And the book Mike talked about, E-Myth, amazing. But don't let the fact you don't have a system stop you from starting a business. Start identifying the different systems you need as you're growing. And then we create the systems. That's what Christine and I do. We help you create the systems. We help you create the processes. We help you get the hell out of your own way so you can grow your business.
I love it. Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. That is the truth. Don't wait to build your business. Build your business and build your assets afterwards. Build your business, put the wheels together as you're going, but just jump in, start something, commit to it, and you can build the systems and processes afterwards. And as far as reaching out and grabbing more people, if you haven't started a podcast yet, we had a great training this past Thursday with Fred Postimo. He was talking about how to build your podcast, how to get all over different channels. If you haven't started a podcast around your business or what you do in your location, you're missing out on free money. I'm talking big money. I'm talking big money, free opportunity. And I am so I couldn't tell you how much the podcast has changed and improved my life and my business. So all I can do is say, look, go try it and see for yourself. It's really, really easy. I don't edit anything. Hands to the camera, you listen to my podcast, it's literally just whatever I recorded is out there. You can edit it, you can get crazy, you can go all see on yourself, but I don't. I just put it out there and it adds value. Hands to the camera, if you've listened to Alchemist Nation podcast or the 100 Millionaires podcast, it's raw. If me and Mike mess up, that's what you get, right? It's just straight to the point. And so anybody could do a podcast, but it'll change your life. And Fred did an awesome training on it. Jason does a great training on marketing and bringing people in. Matt Wininger does a great training on how to leverage our meetups. So you have access to build your business and make more money. The key is get good at marketing. Get good at marketing. That is the secret to your business. Look, Julie Bradley's right here. She's a bookkeeper, right? She gets it. She checks the books. Julie will tell you, it's not about how many times you look at your expenses and your income. That's never going to increase or decrease either one of them. You got to go do marketing, right? A bookkeeper is like doing marketing. By the way, she's our bookkeeper. She's amazing. Let's give Julie Bradley a round of applause. If you're looking for a bookkeeper to take away all of that time you're wasting looking at your own numbers, Julie Bradley's the one. And if you've been asking me for the numbers on South Coast Capital Investments and you want to know my quarterly reports, Julie Bradley's the one putting those together too. So let's give her a round of applause. She's working hard. Patience. Who else? What?
I saw Doug in here a minute. Yeah,
Is
there he
Doug
is.
still here?
Yeah,
Doug
he's
McGurk?
here.
Yeah, I told you I just
He's
came
in
inside
disguise.
for the other chat.
Doug, how is that going? How is the yard sale going? And I saw your hand, Fred. We'll bring you up in a sec, brother.
It's going. Ellie is becoming a young little entrepreneur. The people come up and she suggests all sorts of little items for them. They're mostly her stuff, but it's funny. It's pretty hot out, and then she's like, "I want to go inside." I'm like, "No, you wanted this." So she's learning the art of sales and marketing. She's doing pretty good.
How are you doing with selling your stuff? Because she should learn a little bit of sales and marketing from a pro, from a boss, somebody who knows what they're doing. Are you out there showing her how it's done?
Yeah, showing a little bit of influence and communicating and a lot of embedded commands. You would like this, don't you? So,
I love it. Let's go ahead, Doug.
These are the dolls you're looking for. And just quickly, 2-point great as always. So many incredible nuggets. What Terry was sharing as well, like the ecosystems, getting in there and infiltrating them and building the plane while flying it. Right, the system is going to come into place as well. It's going to be a lot easier to put the system in place while you're taking action, as opposed to waiting till the system is in place to take action. There's a time and place for that, but that's only after you've developed multiple systems and then you're planning ahead. But if you're just starting out, you got to start taking action, build a system while it's happening. And that's why being in this environment is so powerful, because you've got everyone here who has other systems in place can offer their kind of 30,000 foot view, and you could learn from the opportunities, from any challenges and all the successes that we've had in here. So this community is phenomenal, and obviously great job, Walter and all the coaches.
Thank you, bro. Let's give Doug McGurk a round of applause. Always valuable. I love the tips with the coaches at the end. There's always something powerful here. Mike Shine. Don't worry, Fred. I'm coming back. I'm coming back, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fred's got some big news, so I was more interested in hearing what he said. Anyway, I hope Doug isn't using NLP on 5-year-olds, but that's just my thought on that.
He is. He
Clearly
sees no
is.
problem with it.
This is the
Go
bed
on.
you're looking for.
Yes, this is the doll. No, what Terry and Doug said is very true. Don't get into that analysis paralysis by saying I need the systems before I start the business. Mark, who's on the call, mentioned that this book is famous for saying work on your business, not in your business. And that's really what we're talking about, is that you need to take a step outside and look at what you're planning, and not just dive in and jump into it. I will go back to one of Walter's earlier meetings where he said the first thing you got to do is make sure it's a business that can make $1 million. So make sure you pick the right business before you get going. And yeah, it's just an awesome community to start any business, because we're all so supportive, and somebody in here has a great idea. And while you were talking, Walter, I was thinking about the Monday night, the wholesale mastermind, because every time you go there, Elizabeth and Kevin have got somebody in there that's teaching you some system, whether it's call tools or Mojo Dialer or just, Will Wall, or it's just, that's why this community is so amazing, because you may think of a system, but they'll point you to the exact system that you can use. So yeah, it's a great place to be. So that's what I got.
Excellent. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Mike Shine is one of my close personal friends. Over a
Yay.
year ago, we barely knew each other. But over COVID, over this community, over building this training company, me and Mike have bonded. Mitch Jorsky as well. We've just gotten so close with Dr. Terry Wager, Doug McGurk, the team, Christine, Darina. Like, the team has just gotten so freaking tight. But Mike he's just a very, very close personal friend. I text Mike every single freaking day, like 10 times a day. Darina will look at me and be like, "What, are you texting Mike and Mitch again?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. It's only midnight. They might still be awake."
Brenda says the same thing.
and it's just like, we're like, because she'll see me smiling. I'm like, oh, like we're making money, or like we figured something out, or we're throwing memes at each other, whatever it is. But we're just having a blast figuring out our lives, figuring out our minds, figuring out how our money's working, how our businesses are working, putting deals together. Like, we're having a blast with each other. That's how the wealthy live. Does that make sense? So I'm absolutely blessed. And to those of you who think that what we do is a lot of work, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sometimes me and Mike will before we jump on a call, we never say this to each other, right? But before we jump on a call, we're thinking, damn, I don't want to do this call right now. Like, I'm tired, right? Like, it's been a long day. Like, hands to the camera, if you've ever felt that before a call. I know. I appreciate that you show up, because we feel the same way. But every time I show up, every time he shows up, every time Mitch shows up, Ron shows up, Terry shows up, Darina shows up, Elizabeth, Patrick, let me see, Fred, Jason, Dave, you're showing the community, Kevin, you're showing the community something new. You're bringing something, you're bringing an energy to it. You're bringing the opportunity to say something or just be a part of something. And I know for me personally, if I didn't show up, nobody would show up, because I start the calls. I start the Zoom. But I appreciate that, because I learned something on every one of these calls. There's not been a call that I've done over the last 14 months that I haven't learned something. So I appreciate each and every one of you for that opportunity. And Fred, I am going to bring you up, but if I ever forget Darina again, I spend the rest of the week with her in person. Darina, what is your takeaway from this week?
Thanks, Walter. Well, Mitch Jorsky is not here to give you an opinion when you forget about me, but that's okay.
I know. I leverage my friends. I leverage the team.
Yes.
By the way, if Dorina, what is going on with Mitch? If you could just share with everybody so they get an update.
So Mitch is doing much better, but he does have positive tested, and he's not with us today physically, but he's with us in our hearts and in our spirit. He will be on the call next Saturday. So Mitch, if you're watching Facebook, we're thinking about you. And yeah, he's a healthy dude, but you know, he got that, I don't know where, basketball game. But yes, he does have coronavirus. This thing is real. So yes, my biggest takeaway, I actually was thinking about last week lesson and how everything ties together. I've seen a lot of people going live, which was awesome. Elizabeth, Kim Rodriguez, Kim Harvey, Ryan, Dave, Kevin Pereira, like people who actually never went live before, all except Elizabeth, but it was really cool. And today's topic ties in my head because through Facebook Live, you are serving a large group of people. You are really covering, even if you can't leave your city right now and go somewhere else, you are covering a massive community out there, and you know who you're targeting, you know who has problems that you can solve, and that's why you do those live videos. So continue doing them because you are already in that process of targeting the right community, and this is the platform where a lot of people congregate, and you can easily target. You already have the system going. So that's my biggest takeaway. You don't have to get stuck in analysis paralysis. Who is that large group of people you can solve problems for and they can pay you for? Facebook or social media is the key to start off. You just use that, utilize that, and do it consistently. There you go.
I love it. Let's give Dorina a round of applause. It's the truth. You know what the most frustrating thing was when I started doing videos? I've been posting these videos like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I've been posting videos about real estate, and I was an agent in Massachusetts, and I'd get followers from like Florida and Texas and Denver and California. I'd be like, dude, like I cannot monetize this. Why are you messaging me? Or I'd be on Bigger Pockets and I'd be servicing, Fall River. I'd be the king of Fall River on Bigger Pockets. And if you go to Bigger Pockets today and type in Fall River, you'll see one of my posts or one of my forums, one of my comments come up. And I'd get people from all over the country. And I'd be like, dude, I don't know how to work with these people. And then I stayed in touch. I still responded. I still added value. I still built relationships. 4 years later, I built a training company for real estate investors. Every single one of them shows up. Every single one of them is a part of this now. Does that make sense? So you don't know where you're going or how you will get there, but you know what the goal is. Just look at the goal, keep pushing, add as much value to people as possible, and just keep pushing and adding value. Now, that doesn't mean you sign up for everything. I don't sign up for everything. I just stay in one lane. I tell people very clearly, look, message me for real estate questions, right? Like message me for real estate questions. Will you sign up for my network marketing event group? No, I will not. I'm a real estate investor. I'm building a multi-million-dollar company. If your thing won't make $1 million, I'm gonna pass. If I can't effortlessly make $1 million, I'm not interested. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. I say no to all work-related opportunities. I say yes to anything that makes money doing the thing I'm already doing. Oh, well, it ties into what you're doing. No, it doesn't actually tie into what I'm doing. I'm not selling solar. I have no interest in selling solar. It does not tie in shit. Like it doesn't. It's not related.
You didn't even get the joke.
Right?
What was the joke?
Oh.
What was the joke? Except getting fat.
I didn't get the
And
joke
then
either.
you
Dr.
ate
Terry,
it.
can you get him?
You're getting fat. I said,
I am
you're
fat.
gonna be fat.
Well, I'm gonna be fat.
Yeah.
I can't, but that is funny as hell.
How's that a joke?
Best
Paul
How's that a joke?
of my
Hennessy,
life.
I already feel fat.
comedian.
I'm loving it.
Not because of
I don't even want to mute it
what
now.
you eat,
Right?
Are eating all
I got it though. Oh, Paul Hennessy is in some shit with his wife. Paul, you got this, bro. Just apologize. How to win friends and influence people. Look, I don't have to jump into anything that's not real estate, but I will jump into this one.
Just admit you're
Just
wrong.
admit you're wrong. Admit she's right, and tell her you love her, and you will do whatever it takes to earn that trust back. But she is absolutely right. I assure you. Hands to the camera if you know she's right. He definitely said it. Right. He didn't mean it, but he said it, and he's dead for it. All right. Fred Posimo, on that note, throw us some
Yo,
information.
what is going on, everybody? So here's the deal. I got two things. Number one, takeaway of the day is huge today. And number two, I got some huge news for us because we all had a giant victory this week. But first, I got a question. Has anybody, hands to the camera, if you've ever had that moment before where you like grab a book, you open it up to just some random page, and exactly what you were looking for in that moment is there? Who's had that before? Hands to the camera if you had that moment before. That literally happened to me today on this call. So I came on this call about 10 minutes late. I had some stuff that I was doing, and literally the first words out of Walter's mouth were, the bigger the deal, the higher level the seller. And that just blew my mind, because one of the things that frustrated me when I first got into real estate, and one of the reasons that I avoided wholesaling, is because I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I got to negotiate $100,000+ deal with this person who is like barely functioning as a citizen of society. No offense, right? Because most of the time they're alcoholics, they're druggies, they're derelicts, they're jailbirds. They're like these barely functioning human beings that can't recognize the pot of gold that they're sitting in, which is why they need you to come and buy it from them. But like Walter mentioned, who's buying, 50, 60, 100 unit apartment buildings? More people like us, right? We're the types of people that are buying it. So that means when you go to buy it from them, you're negotiating with somebody who actually, for the most part, has their sanity. And I actually extrapolated it out and I looked at it differently beyond just the realm of real estate. And I wrote this down. I said, the bigger the player, the greater the opportunity. And what I mean by that is I've had different levels of coaches throughout my life. Some of them are huge. Some of them are big players. For instance, I was personally mentored by Les Brown, right? Les Brown is a huge player. I mean, he's making multi-millions of dollars. And what I found is that the bigger the level of the player that you're associated with, the bigger the people you're surrounded by, the more opportunities come up and the bigger the opportunities are for you. It's one of the things that makes this Alchemist Nation so powerful, is that you're in the room with people who are not buying, row homes. We're buying multifamily properties. We're doing $1 million deals and we're doing big, giant things. And this week, I had the opportunity myself to share this opportunity with two other people in particular who are actually joining us today. Let's all put our hands together for Andrew and Josh, who just joined the mentorship this week. They're ready to have their lives changed, and they're going to be awesome assets to our team. I love what Walter created because it's not a one-way street. I like to think of his business as a circle, what him and Ron put together. Because when one of us win, we all win, right? It's this centripetal force that's lifting us all together at once. And so I don't consider it my victory, right? I was on the phone with these people. I talked to these people and I brought them in. It's our victory, right? We all win in this race. We're all growing together. We're all moving together, and we're all becoming something else together because of each new person that sees the value, that catches the vision, and is here to change their lives. Josh is in the comments section in the chat box. Says looking forward to being a part of this amazing group. And by the way, Walter, I gotta hold myself accountable to hold you accountable to jump on a call with Josh. He asked me to reach out to you. He said he wants to talk to you personally. He wants to make sure you're not some scam artist out here trying to take all his money.
Dude, I don't do the one-on-ones, but I will give him Dr. Terry Wager. Dr. Terry Wager does all of the first calls for everybody, and for Josh and Andrew and any new members. Dr. Terry Wager is the authority on doubling your income. He has increased and doubled his income annually for as long as I've known him, and in some months I've watched him double it in a month. Hands to the camera if you know that's who you want to learn from. That's right. It's worth it. It's worth it. And he's just the beginning. We got 8 other coaches, but you will see me every Monday night at 8 p.m. in the mentorship. Let's give Fred Posimo a round of applause. Man, I watched Fred do the hard sale the other night. I was there on the call. I watched him, and it wasn't a tactic. It was Fred saying, look, you're never going to find a better deal than this. You're never going to find a better deal than this. They jumped into the mastermind and the mentorship. $5,000. We gave them the mastermind and the mentorship and the Make Money Have Fun mastermind. So they've got the mentorship for the first 8 weeks. They got the Make Money Have Fun for the next 6 months. And they've got the Alchemist mastermind for the next year. For $5,000, I threw a massive discount. Ron texted me. He's like, dude, why'd you discount it so much? And I said, dude, you should have seen how hungry they were. These two were killers. These two were killers. I had to get them in. And I know that between us and Fred, like we've built just an amazing product. So
So cool seeing it come together. It's amazing. And seeing them catch the vision of it. Cause you know, like you said, it's a hard sell, but it's not a hard sell. It's a hard, I care about you so much that I can't let you go.
And it was late at night. I was in a generous mood, right? It was my last call of the day. So it's funny. It was fun. Let's see. Who else do we have? Patrick Sullivan, if you're safe to talk, I know you're driving.
Luckily, I just parked.
Awesome.
So.
Your car drives itself, doesn't it?
It does drive itself, but I still have to watch it most of the time. So I actually wanted to tack on to what Mike was saying earlier about systems and building things. And like, that's really precisely how I run my business and how everything I do. You know, when I started opening sober houses, the first thing we did is figure out what we need to do to run, 500 of them. Unfortunately, I don't think there even are 5,000 of them around as much as, actually, I guess I could own all of them. We'll get up to that point, but we have a book that literally says like how to operate them and how to do everything. It's every systems, policies, procedure, and guide on what to do and what not to do. I could hand it to anyone in this room, throw them in one of my houses, and they could operate it today with not a lot of effort. And we based that just off of like McDonald's and Subway. And we did a lot of Subway. I may have acquired a systems operating procedure manual for a Subway and kind of went off all of that. But if you look at how like McDonald's ran, if anyone ever watched the movie The Founder, like it's an amazing movie to see like that, like McDonald's is kind of going to crap, and he just showed up and made it better and figured out what to do, and he did it just like that. He took their policies and things and ran with it and made it bigger and better. And I definitely am with the same boat as you, that one of my only regrets in life is not doing things much earlier. I wish I had taken all the money I had in the younger years and put it in real estate, because I probably wouldn't be here. You guys could have all come and hung out on my island in Tahiti.
Let's give Patrick Sullivan a round of applause. Patrick is a very, very talented person. He's done a lot. He's built multi-million-dollar businesses. He's swung at multi-million-dollar deals, over $12 million deals. And he's not afraid of them. And he's building a phenomenal system in the sober house community, something that's necessary. And he's found a way to cash flow in something that is really, really needed. High intense labor, but he built systems around it. And that's the secret to be able to serve high volume, is great systems. We were talking about it earlier. And he mentioned one of my favorite restaurants, Subway. If you have not checked out the Subway salad bowl, you are missing out. It is by far one of the most delicious, healthiest things you can get. And if you walk into a Subway and it looks like it's run down and beaten down and downtrodden, please contact me. I have a very close and dear friend who's looking to buy more Subways. Melanie Santos already owns 3, and she's looking to stack up and more and improve the community, improve the service. She fell in love with Subways when she was younger, and she started buying them. She started managing them, improving them, buying them, and she hasn't stopped. She also owns a lot of real estate, but she loves Subway. She's fallen back in love with it, especially with those new salads. She says, this is healthy. It's a vegan option. So let's give Melanie Santos a round of applause. Congratulate her again on her recent success on another Subway down, bought her next house. And to everybody who's been through the Alchemist mentorship program and is stepping up their lives and moving to the next level, let's give you a round of applause For everyone who knows that this is a part of their life, that this is something they want to move into, let's give you a special round of applause, because taking action is the hardest part. But once you do it, the results follow. Cheers to your success when you have a choice. Always work with the best.
With the best. Best.
I will see you next week.